Hello 8th graders, this video is to show you how to get started on the interpretation of data, or otherwise known as the IOD. Before you get started on this, make sure that you look up at the whiteboard in the front of the room and write down the due date for this assignment and the conclusion and put those into your planner and write them on the top of your blue packet. For the IOD, there are technically 3 parts of the IOD, but one of them kind of has 2 sections in it. So think of the IOD as 4 parts. All of the instructions for how to do this are also found on the handout from class, which looks like this. The 4 parts, or I guess the 3 parts, are the 3 bullets that you see on your paper, and I want to walk you through how to do each one of them. So the first one says compares data to overall trends. And this may sound a lot like what you've already done in the results section, and in fact it is going to be pretty similar. The goal here is to be able to bring up the data that you're later going to point out, the data that shows whether or not it's insignificant, inconsistent, etc., which is the next step. So I want to show you a student example, which is on the 3rd page of your packet, and I'm going to do a little highlighting. So if you have 4 colors, you should highlight along with me. The first part says, or the first part that this student included was a description of one of the high points of, or one of the higher ranges of data. So they're talking about their calcium chloride being the lowest freezing point. The next part of this is kind of the second section of the first bullet. They go into a little bit of explanation of why they think that it did that. So when you're doing yours, you should talk about, this is my data, this is why I think it is that way. And then they kind of switch back and forth. You don't have to do this, but this person did. They decided to talk about one little part of data in yellow, and then talk about why it did that in green. Then another part of data in yellow again, and then why they think that part of the data did it that way in green. So all this yellow and green on your screen, that satisfies the first bullet point, compares data to show overall trends. And that will likely be the largest chunk of your IOD, or at least about half of it. The next bullet says discusses if data is. So you need to choose one of these 5 sections. And if you don't remember how to choose whether it's insignificant, inconsistent, etc., there is a link in your assignment in Google Classroom where you can go back. It's right here. It says 1.5 Trends and Conclusions. You can go back and look at the actual notes that we did back in the beginning of the year to remind yourself how to choose from those types. But you're going to choose from those types, and I want to go back down to the student example. And this is all it takes, is one little sentence right here. So that's where they choose their types. Let's do that. Oh, that's a terrible color. That's where they choose which types of data, or which type of data that they've determined from all of their data that they collected. The last part of this is to choose, or to explain why you've chosen that type. So they say it's conclusive. You need to be able to say why you think it's conclusive. So this is where you're going to reference that handout that I just showed you a second ago in order to help you to defend your answer. Now, a lot of people get a little bit stressed out about, well, am I choosing the right one? I'm not sure if it's conclusive or inconclusive or inconsistent or whatever. I have evidence for multiple choices. Well, there is no single one right choice. It's not like if you pick the wrong one, you're going to lose credit. You need to pick the one that is the most compelling, the best choice. And based on that best choice, your defense is the part that I'm looking at, like your reasoning. Why did you choose that? And if it makes sense, you'll get full credit. So please make sure that you're using all of your resources, which include this video if you need to rewatch it, and this link to the notes from back in the beginning of the year. Good luck.